Good evening, folks. It's 5:33 a.m. on the 11th month, 15th day, excuse me, in 2025. I guess some really wicked storms are going to make their way towards the coast tonight, across Queensland, and it bears watching. It's all been aimed. I had a good look at the radars overnight last night, and they really well mapped out the corridors of flow that to be expected for these storms to occur and be aimed the way they're going, right? Because here's I'll kind of do what I do for myself. I'll show you how I kind of do a map with flow. So what I'll do now is I'm watching very closely at what the radars are going to be doing, and I'm going to make a map because I have to see where the radars come on, like that hue and dense come on. This radar here right underneath the hand, it's on, and created a flow boundary that's going to split the storm around Rocky and underneath it. And the ones that are going to impact Harvey Bay in that area tonight are going to race mostly towards Agnes in this. And the deployments that I've seen that confirm to me that this is going to happen are right out here now. They're blowing up the storms now. You see these square edges here, very indicative of a geoengineering chemical catalyst deployment. And some of these can, as they react with each other, acids and certain bases they have, they'll give off heat, and so they'll keep the top of the cloud hot, even though the sunlight will be diminished upon the tops to cause such a natural effect. But to imitate it with chemicals is like with this crap over Cunnamulla over here. Yeah, they're counting the money and a moolah. See this bomb formation here coming in, spiking towards that one spot, like spokes on a wheel, and they kind of point at themselves. Whatever is doing the deployment, we all deserve an honest answer to. We see what's proposed and litigated, so we now deserve a choice in this. And I say no. Even if you don't believe this is going on, if it was, would you want this to go on? God's listening to your mind right now. I say no. We don't want to block the sunlight from these trees. They're not going to photosynthesize very efficiently. When you start seeing right turn Clyde clouds like this, or like somebody put a wank sack on the ground. And that's actually pretty high up in the atmosphere, that one. It's actually going over the top of these microwave popcorn clouds, which are probably at about 15 to 20,000 feet from what I was looking at earlier when I looked at temperature changes in altitude of where the clouds are. I did a bit of a determining, and these vapors are just cruising over the top of Toowoomba, and he's really going to fuel a lot of storms. And ahead of it, this stuff here has the ability to pull moisture out of the ground, like a desiccant does. You can have a dish of crystals, chemical crystals, that can, this plume's going the opposite direction. Maybe you have a fire right here. The chemicals like you put in a dish to get humidity out of a room. It'll just fill the dish up with water. It's pretty effortless, isn't it? Using a desiccant, so you can see a sickness mix that's streamed over carcinage that's fueled some of the stuff you got today. So let's look at what's going on right now and what's to be expected tonight. Right now, they just got past the Tamworth radar, which was on. It was on quite actively, actually. This particular cell is the one I've been watching the most up near Upper Manila. And I do expect these to track fairly straight towards this. And when it hits this mountain line here, I expect the storms to die out a bit, but not before it leaves a belting along this particular side of these sticky up bits, which mountains are. Sticky up bits and sticky out bits matter. Just to put it simply, Nundle. Boy, that was a hell of a show, you guys. See how they're dissipating as we get towards the mountains? It tends to cut the storm up a lot naturally. And plus, I'm aware of a beam line that went up that way, which is going to influence the weather. I have to keep that in mind. Yeah, this cell is rotating quite bad. It's delivering quite an amount of lightning, I imagine. I had to turn it off because you couldn't see the storm details for the lightning itself going on. And very tornadic activity that's racing across New South Wales right now. But this is my concern. is these ones that are being blown up now. As it hits this radar line here of Tulum, you just see some of what they'll call the ground clutter, but it's in a very particular shape. I've been watching it. So the slide corridor, as I call them, is like this. See, this is a heck. This one here is like this. Come on, draw. So it's easy flow, and then that side and down that side. Things that come across here tend to not do to go in that area, and the air that's heated here will flow towards this cooler air here, because this will be rain will be evaporating even as it falls, and evaporation is a cooling process. This cell here I'm expecting to become quite active, and she's going to track more of that direction that way, like that. Again, the zooming in on this area here seems to be the norm lately, is they can control the flows through here by shutting this with EMF, and then get the Venturi effect that way, so they can get flow out to sea or inflow that way coming under the cloud decks that are very often affecting that area. So by shutting those, basically they're like Venturis in a carburetor, and it's how I look at it. Yeah, it's the fuel balls on this side. So we make a suction that pulls things through, or I can make a wind come down this side and pull things from this direction in that way. Just using basic Venturi principles of science. It's just bringing things into a carrot. Looks like this road is definitely going to see quite a bit of action, because there's going to be a hell of an updraft coming off the tarmac itself, which always affects the weather as well. So chemical catalyst ain't always needed to make it rain over a road, is it? Big beam wise, I got something activity is right here, and this isn't Willis Island either. It's a ship. You got more than one that's been active out here. If I'm lucky, I can catch a quick shot of it, and we can map that out for you. It's right here. See that spot there? So you beamed out that direction, put a scalar square over itself, that direction and that direction. The secondary ship was right here, and it put out a pulse like this. So I had to know these things. So where's the tropical air coming in? So it's really pinned this at shore. It has, and so it has a lot of this that could come in to feed what's coming that way, and a bunch of colder air came up through this trough here to meet this hot ass shit here from the tropics, and that's the recipe for disaster at any given day anyhow. And well, the way tornadoes have been marching across Australia lately, it isn't something that I was expecting to see quite an active tornado season. I have to say the geoengineers have become quite good at making such disasters, and there's a lot of reasons. I'll give you one called the Olympics. Why they land grabbing around Brisbane, housing. Yeah, for that 1 month's worth of money, they want to put on a show you how modern Australia looks for the whole corporate world. Meanwhile, you guys get sprayed like bugs. You get your forest burnt out, you get new roads put in, you get new housing that's only going to be used for about a month or so, and then they tear it down. You end up with like Olympic parks with displaced people and run down neighborhoods all around them now. Look what they did in London. Yeah, it's all good for that month while they're parading around. Look at my medals. Yeah, men competing in women's events and boxing, hitting women in the faces and stuff. We get medals for this these days. Look at these bombs here. Boom, 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 boom. Went to plumes. This is to the west of Kyogo. Big streamer of death over the top of you. And this image here is 22 minutes old. Lots of chem went over the top of Byron Bay, It's very highly acidic too. I don't think all the burns we're getting are from the sun. I think we get chemical burns as well. So using a good mix of magnesium bicarbonate water to mist your body with, it could go a long way to neutralizing the acids that are accumulating on your clothing and your skin, which is not very healthy. Certain acids are highly carcinogenic, aren't they? Certain acids. We're allowed to say that. We're not allowed to say anything about curing or anything about cancer until an act of the 1930s is overturned that doesn't allow anybody but who the government says can do it to research this industry of cancer. which I think we're finding out is very parasitic. And I'm not just talking the attitude of the people that apply the I can't say cures. There's no curing ward I've ever seen in a hospital. There's lots of morgues though. Yeah, I went there. This lake is mighty red, isn't it? Wonder what makes that happen. There'll be some kind of a microbe. And later, if that ever evaporates and gets covered, that'll become like a pink salt or some kind. Who knows? Look at the microwaves over Broken Hill. Very square-looking formation, very scalar in nature. So that's an outflow line that pins some of the cold air back in towards the trough. Yeah, I'm just reading the clouds. There's a gap right here for cold air. Had to come up right to here. I'm tracing a pad. That was a beam all the way through here. Looks like it came from about here. Gotta read the clouds, man. They ain't gonna hide their lies in the skies from educated eyes, that for sure. Look at the gilt tear. Wow, look at the scalar square here off Gisborne in this plasmoid haze of all these chemicals going photonic. Yeah, your sky will be glowing tonight. Hit this with just the right amount of EMF. Oh, look, aurora. This far north in summertime. Get out of here. My gosh, not feeling very well for Wellington, is it? Smasharood, smasharood. It's the cold and the plain flu season. Calling for lethal flu here. Cytokine storms going wild. They're going to blame everything but the causations, aren't they? Because we ain't even allowed to suggest it due to Cancer Acts and stuff like that have passed, which need to be overturned. Come on, politicians, do something that's needed. Hashtag expose the perverts, all of them. The perverts can't be in charge of hiding their perversion, right? It's just wrong. If you can bury the Epstein list because your name is on it, well, Musk said Trump's name was on it, and suddenly he a liar about everything. I don't think he is. That's a terrible looking storm here. I'm very concerned about the look of this. It's just to the side of Warwick here, and it's going to hit the radar on Tuwum, and this is where it's going to split. So Kingaroy, Dalby, you're in the line of the storms tonight. Yarrowby, you got it. Gympie, you're in the line. Maryborough, you're in the line. As this thing's going to rock across. So let's see the weather playing and what they got planned for your asses. I could definitely see the possibilities of this occurring because the dynamics are all there and the chem is there. And this is 1,000 miles plus of volatility here. See, I can see why the BOM is having trouble forecasting correctly because they don't take into account the chemical catalyst that they say is a conspiracy. Well, the conspiracy is changing the weather. The conspiracy is to cover up itself, that the news is now complacent and helping happen. So you're part of the conspiracy as you're covering up the truth, news people. Yeah, because you're being told to read certain things on a monitor and then to act like bullies to people that don't go along with your view on things. Shame on you. How safe and effective was it at killing my entire family, some of your advice is, you assholes. You don't ever expect forgiveness from me. You get on your knees and pray to God, because I'm praying that you go to hell, some of you people. Ooh. Now you're going to get the truth from me whether you like it or not. The truth don't give a shit about Robert's opinion. The truth forms Robert's opinion. Remember that. Maybe you could be the same. And this is your overnight hour storm. My God, it's going to get rough as we heading into the dawn hours. As she does that curve right over you, Poon goes over to Bruce, right on up the coastline there. So you guys get prepared. You bring your stuff in off the patio and stuff. Because overnight hours tonight is going to be a belter. Absolute belter for you folks. The conditions are perfect for tornadoes. Absolutely perfect. Especially this area right through here where I'm pointing at. Because the flow splits there. Watch. See if we can get this to run. You see this straight line here? It's hemming the chem right here. It's that passage right through here with this curved line of chem. I'm very concerned about tornadoes from this area here. as it hits the CMF light. Looks how they blowed it up right in front of it, right over the top of you. Very sudden storms coming. Boom, just that quick. Boom, see it? Looking like a butt plug. Pig. Remember that big shadow over you, Ipswich? Hey, looks like that should slide a bit south of you, because the main cell is like this. Coming right over the top of you. Very bad night, very rough time ahead. That's all I can say about that. Mimic-wise, I showed you the beams from off the coast. There's the beam that hit all the way up through the clouds. Starts from, yeah, right here. You have a device there. Let's see what's there. See if I got anything marked. Boy, you're gonna get the whole experience. And mostly just neck threads there. The only join device I have is up here. So either there's something parked there that I don't know about, right, on the trailer or something, or there's a new device. And mobile NEXRAD weather radar on trucks. You seen any of these about? Radar on trucks. That's what I talk about when I said I'm seeing a signature in the clouds. It's not matching with any known weather stations. It's very often one of these. You have them in ads. Sometimes I'll even park one of these in front of an existing weather station, like when one of them goes down, like maybe Northland's radar station, Westlands, New Zealand, right down here. When their radar went out, they could park something there and have something operating, so they can continue the geoengineering that's expected from these devices and by the geoengineers. Yeah. NEXRADs are weather machines. Prove me wrong. I'm damn sure proving I'm right. And the accuracy of my forecast says it all. And so with that said and with that done, I want you guys to be vigilant. Keep an eye on your radar. It's going to be a rough night, and prepare for the worst up here and hope for the best. That is all. Big love. Stay safe. Peace.